I took corporate finance and financial markets cam. They brought the industry into the classroom. I got very good foundation, which together from both the cams is going to help me in my career.
I have been able to have a personable relationship with faculty and staff here at William & Mary. I think because it is a smaller school, you get to have that close interaction where their office doors are always open and you can go in and they'll answer all your questions. I think of bean counters when I think of accountants, and here is something that all these policies are very fluid, especially now with international convergence for accounting. So it's a very fascinating time to be in the accounting field.
With our lead experience, my coach has been amazing. He's been able to really pull things out of me. I'm usually reluctant to say what I'm feeling or what I'm thinking, and he's been able to make me feel more comfortable in doing that. With the field consultancy, our EP had worked with our client before, so he was able to give us some insight on how best to manage that relationship and to keep it on a positive keel, and he just really helped us in some of the darker times when we were bogged down. He was able to pull us through and help us, achieve a great outcome for the client. The executive partners are a plus for our school because they allow us to interact with people who have traveled the road that we're seeking to travel. Experience is always the best teacher, I think, and having the executive partners as a resource allows us as students to really pick the brains of these individuals that guide us. I love my coach. I think he's a great guy, and he really offers great advice on how to deal with everyday things as well as my career walk. I'm finding through my job search that the team-based environment is everywhere, and they really are looking for people who know how to operate well in teams, a variety of teams with a variety of capabilities and attitudes and all of that. You need to know how to motivate people, and working in teams in the business school has helped me with that tremendously because I had never really had that experience before. Through the executive partners, we've been able to really gain access to individuals on Wall Street, to at least the knowledge base in the finance area. I find that networking is so very important because you have to form those relationships early. You have to really nurture those relationships to kind of maneuver to get to where you want to be.
Part of the executive partner process for me has been learning about who I am and how I, can fit into different roles, and being able to talk to experienced people and get their advice on, basically figuring out who I am more than what I want to do. So that's been really beneficial. Working in teams has benefited me because I owned my own business and sold it before I came to business school. It really challenged me to think about teams in a completely different dynamic, and it was a challenge, but I think I'm better for it, and I think I'll be able to move into a larger business much easier than if I hadn't come here. The network at William & Mary, when I came here, I had a very regional, small business view of the business world, and interacting in William & Mary has opened up an entirely new world that I kind of knew existed in the pages of the Wall Street Journal, but I'm face to face with it now, and it's forced me and challenged me to expand my horizons and think about business in a much different light. So that, if I didn't come to business school, I wouldn't have gotten that, and I think my life will be different for it. Actually, the executive partner program played a major role in me choosing William & Mary, but the ability to interact with people who had been out there and been in the business world was really integral in me coming here. In fact, I contacted one of the executive partners, Brian Smith, during the application process. He's an entrepreneur and had sold a few businesses, and we just talked about what he felt the benefits of the program would be. Having that access and, has been important to me.
Definitely, the MAC program is a very unique program that personally I would recommend to any student who wants to not only excel in accounting but in any financial industry. And the reason is this: I got attracted to the MAC program because of the finance courses that were offered along with the accounting courses, such as derivatives, accounting for derivatives, bonds, securitizations. And those are things that are very important in today's market that drive the economy that we live in today. People say that accounting is the language of business. But the language of business itself has to be translated in various forms, and finance is one of those forms in which the language of business is translated. So if you understand the core accounting and know how to translate it into finance, then you become marketable in any capacity where an accountant, a finance, or marketing agent is needed. And that's what the MAC program offers, and that's the reason why it is very important that people who want to excel in any industry, whatsoever it is, to come to the MAC program. That's a good thing about the program. It's a family, and it helps you create that connection, not just for here, but as you move forward. 5 years, 10 years down the line, I can bet that I could take a phone and call anyone in the program and say, look, I need a job. And I will tell you the truth. That person is never going to tell me no. That's the uniqueness of this program that you don't find anywhere else.
I think the EPs are probably the most vital asset that the Mason School of Business has. In both of my CAMs that I experienced last semester, first semester of second year, the EPs were right at the forefront giving us information on how they sort of did a specific task, and then sort of asked us how would we do it, what would we change, what would we modify. I think the EPs give us a real life perspective. It's not about the books. It's not about professors, telling you what the right answer is. It's more about talking through with experienced individuals through the process.
Help you figure that out.
The executive partners, Alan Finger, who is my executive partner, really helped me out during my internship process. I was an individual who didn't think I wanted to do an internship initially. I sort of woke up one morning and said, you know what, I think I want to do an internship today. And so I talked to my executive partner, and he said, well, what do you want to do? And I told him I sort of want to do public sector consulting. And his daughter works for PricewaterhouseCoopers out of Philadelphia, so he passed my resume to PricewaterhouseCoopers, to his daughter at PricewaterhouseCoopers, who passed it down to the Washington, D.C. office, and within 24 hours I had an interview. So it was a fairly quick process. They definitely passed my resume out and made the connections for me, and then it was just my task to follow up with these individuals. So I think the Mason education, focusing primarily around field consultancy, it's live. It's not a case that happened in 1986. It's something that's relevant today. I think that's particularly true with the field consultancy experience. You're working for a real-life company on a real-life project with real-life people on real-time issues. And that experience in itself is gratifying, knowing that you're doing something that's visible, that's not, oh, I think I would do it this way, and then have a professor come back and say, this is what the person did in the real-life case. It's more of you sort of lead your own path, which is really interesting for a business school curriculum. I think the good thing about LEAD is it teaches you how to interact with people, which I think is really important. A leadership has certain characteristics, some ingrained in the actual individual and some that you can actually acquire or learn through a process. I think the one thing that LEAD does teach you is that dealing with people is not simple, but there is a process and a methodology that could be followed to make that process smoother. Understanding where the other individual comes from, understanding their characteristics, their background, I think was really important. And understanding yourself to some extent, knowing where your strengths and your weaknesses lie, I think is really important and sort of critical for any individual moving forward. The 6 competencies that LEAD focuses in on were the same 6 competencies that I was graded on during my internship. So there was a one-to-one correlation between what PwC was looking at, which is a top 4 accounting firm, and what William & Mary is concentrating in on.